What is up, ladies and gentlemen, runners of all ages? I know exactly what you're thinking today because I am thinking it too. Why can't I actually drink the drinkable cheeseburger? If you aren't thinking this, that's okay, because by the end of this video, you will be. We've all seen the concurrent player counts, and it begs the question of why. Bungie had time to create anything they wanted, with several successful and failed predecessors to learn from, months of playtests and years of development amounting to the pinnacle that is Cryo Archive, and the hemorrhaging player count both. I've enjoyed my time with the game, and with over 140 hours, there's still gas in the tank. But I found the game uninspiring as a creative playspace. I find myself searching for interesting and unique challenges or builds to write about, and I've found only foundational issues I believe the genre had already solved. So for the sake of my own sanity and as a cry for help that maybe this world I do enjoy can have some kind of salvation, I'm going to take you through everything wrong with Marathon, for me. Let's start off with the incredibly anti-player economy. From day zero in the alpha, I have lamented the sparse options and exorbitant prices, and somehow it's only marginally improved since then. If you're focused on making money in the majority of games, you're not walking away with more than 4,000 credits a game, if that. For a mid-game loadout of all blue gear with an M77 and a Waster shotgun, you're going to be spending well over 31,000 credits. Frankly, that's ridiculous when if you looted all that gear off of someone else, fit it all in your inventory, hauled it out, and sold it, you would earn only about 6,500 credits, which isn't even enough for an all-green loadout with a bully. Then we have practically no choices to make in the store. Of the roughly 30 weapons in the game, you can buy maybe 10 of them, with 4 of those being weapons that aren't only viable but like the endgame meta. There's no progression from cheap to more expensive alternate options. Like, we don't go from a bolt-action, single-shot sniper rifle to the long shot with semi-automatic at 7,000, it's just our only option. There's no high-end, late-game buys for the burst rifles or machine guns. You just have the Retaliator that you get at level 1. I mean, most of the meta is the Bully, which you get at level 1, and you just slap some mods on it and take it into Cryo Archive. As for cores, there's a rotating supply of 1 core per rarity per runner, from a selection of 2 possible cores, even though some of these characters may have 4 or more options for each tier. You can't even run 2 unique cores for your character unless you use 2 different rarity cores, or you save up and hoard cores every day until the reset randomly gives you the second core in the shop. How the hell are you supposed to test, try, buy, and run builds when you can't even buy more than 1 option a day, with literally less than a dozen weapons? The entire selling point of the game was building. The borders, which are basically crafting, I guess, are good on paper, but they're unreliable and force you to stockpile either mats or the purchases themselves, eating up your vault space. You could be waiting days to see a specific item in the shop, and that can make you hesitate to use the gear until it's available again. Now, gameplay and balance are probably the most loudly discussed aspects of the game, but I'm not thinking about things like snipers or shotguns specifically. I'm looking at the nitty-gritty of the sandbox around the gear, starting with shields. I think shields and other means of increased health kill strategic planning and lead to long, drawn-out engagements where you start to lose the ability to play effectively. If you ambush a purple shield, it's practically useless if you have green or white shields, because half the time they're still going to be able to turn and get multiple shots on you before you can kill one person, if they don't kill you themselves. The longer the time to kill, the worse the game is for casuals and newcomers. A faster time to kill allows for good strategy to beat out good aim, and for all kinds of players to compete evenly. And if there weren't shields in the game, you would know 100% of the time how much danger you're in, and how much of a danger you are to the other players in the lobby. I also think the UESC are both easy and boring. Blue and purple shield variants are just incredibly tanky for enemies who are just the regular bot with a trick. Sure, they have marginal visual differences, but you fight all of them the exact same way by shooting them in the head. They pose no threat unless they're 4-1, and it's not a thrill to kill any of them. I'm honestly glad there's not a PvE mode, because how would any of these UESC bots be entertaining as the main enemy? How do we go from an entire trilogy of aliens to 1 robot cloned across the entire map? Which brings me to topic 3, which, as I said in my alpha review, if you watched that way back when, I don't need PvP every match to be engaged in an extraction shooter. What I need is a world to fall into and be immersed by. Marathon is just not immersive enough, and in the wise words of our good friend Jake, It feels incredibly gamey. There are plenty of reasons for this, but part of this is the overwhelming HUD and all the floating icons. Most of Marathon's competition goes for a minimally invasive HUD with small or translucent pop-ups when there's no other option to show something to you. Meanwhile, almost every inch of my border of my screen is filled with something. The timer and compass are fine, but the gigantic quest tracker is always in the way, even though there's a dedicated quest menu with the info. Then I have not only my health and shields at all times, but my teammates' health and shields, my current med, grenade, both the guns in my loadout, my knife, and my ability cooldowns. Why does none of this stuff have a fade option? Why can't I default the quest to minimize? Why do I need to see that my knife exists at all times? Why can't I hide my teammate health bars? Why can't the ammo counters be included on all the guns and my abilities represented on the character's arms? Is it that hard to implement this stuff so that we can see it in the game instead of in a HUD? Then there's the pings, which are just huge opaque icons that you can't see through for some reason, and they just hang around. If you see gameplay on the screen right now, this is the most transparent the HUD gets. We're also playing on some of the smallest maps to ever touch the genre, where it may take anywhere from 6 to 10 minutes to cross maps like Woods in Tarkov or Damn Battlegrounds on Ark, or any of Hunt's maps. We can clear all of Dire Marsh in under 2 minutes. There is no place to explore, nowhere to wander, wide swaths of Earth to roam where it's unlikely for you to run into players. From a central point, a team can third-party the entire map in under a minute. It makes everything feel claustrophobic. You're always in the danger zone, to the point where it's not even stressful anymore, you're just expecting a fight. And then when we talk about the items on the map, there's so few uses for them. Like, yeah, we can barter and trade materials, but there's never a choice of having to eat something to survive, or break down a material for pieces you can craft mid-match meds or weapons with. There's not any items that use unique interact animations to give you some personality, like the recorder in Ark or eating and drinking in Tarkov. You can't shoot out lights or cause fires or penetrate cover, etc. There's no cohesive feeling of being a survivor or a scavenger, cobbling together your own gear to explore this colony. All of this is in service of a checkmark for one quest at a time because you aren't smart enough to juggle multiple options at the same time. I feel like I'm a 3D printed shell sent to go die over and over to do the same thing and try to get the one quest done. Perhaps my most or least controversial take on Immersion is trios, which, while fun for a while, feels like a mistake. Between Hunt, Ark, and now Marathon, I firmly believe 3 players makes everything lose its weight and its tension. See, as a solo you can be slow and deliberate when you play a match, defining your own experience. Duos can maintain a close approximation where you don't feel entirely powerful, but you can break the silence and feel some confidence with your backup. Trios makes it so you'll never have a quiet moment again. You can overpower almost any single opposition. You'll have barely enough time to cover the map to do all 3 quests in one go, and someone is likely to be bloodthirsty, throwing off your groove if you're trying to do something and be sneaky, and your teammate wants to go run it down mid. I get the 3v3 PvP style, but I also think balancing for trios breaks immersion, when every enemy takes 3 times as long to kill as a solo player. The game should be balanced for a solo player, maybe a duo, with low AI HP and lethal PvP, and trios should be fine regardless of this change. It's going to function like 3 solo players playing together. Finally, perhaps the biggest thing wrong with Marathon is that there's no customization really. I don't like that the shells are static characters with pre-decided abilities and there's no alternate options. I don't like that there's only underwhelming skins for both characters and guns. I hate that we don't have piece-by-piece customization of the arms, legs, torso, helmet, and the color. Why can't we have any accessories to make ourselves feel truly unique? No capes or cloaks or badges or armbands, not even a watch maybe? I think the more freedom you give people, the better, and I feel extremely confined both as a player and as a creator in the experiences that I can seek out. And for a game that was marketed and built up as making your own story and playing your way, isn't that incredibly damning? So that is everything wrong with Marathon, at least for me. And it leaves me wondering, what's wrong with Marathon for you? Be sure to let me know down below in the comments and drop a like to let me know that you enjoyed the video. And now that we're at the end of this, I will ask you one more time. Why can't I drink the drinkable cheeseburger?